After arguing with his wife and husband, he took his luggage and fell out of the house. When he left, his wife secretly put a micro camera on him. She wanted to see how her husband and mother-in-law would say bad things about her when she was not at home. But she didn't expect that as soon as she left, her best friend rushed into her house. However, when she heard the word mom, the woman was like being struck by lightning. She finally understood that her best friend and her husband had already been hooked up in the ground. But when she heard the conversation of the people behind her, she was very disappointed with them. She found that her mother-in-law and her husband had secretly switched her test tube. However, she was pregnant with her husband and her best friend's child. What made her almost collapse was that the cancer she had was not an accident at all. It was the drug that the heartless man put in the fetal medicine every day. It turned out that this pair of vicious men and women had already planned it. When the woman gave birth to the child, the two of them immediately got married. By that time, she must have died of illness. They can be together openly. The woman was so angry that she felt like she was going to explode at any time. Now she just wants to pick up the gun and listen to them. But at this time, a friend next to her was suddenly scared because the woman at this time was bleeding. At the same time, the mother-in-law pulled her best friend's hand and assured her, on the day of the engagement banquet, as soon as the child is born, I will gather all the people in the family to go to the ancestral hall. At that time, I will publicly announce the identity of your daughter-in-law. Let you also enter the family tree of our Chow family. When they were still immersed in the laughter, the man's phone suddenly rang. It was a call from the hospital. It said that the child in the woman's belly had an accident. The mother-in-law was so scared that her eyes were wide open. In a blink of an eye, the three of them rushed to the hospital. When the doctor came out of the operating room, the man went up to ask about the child's situation. The doctor said that the situation was very bad because the patient himself has a cancerous system. Only one can be kept between adults and children, but the bad mother-in-law must keep a little one because the foundation of the Chow family is all on her. Then the man also decided to let the doctor keep a little one. When the doctor returned to the operating room, he took the mother-in-law's hand and slapped her on the face. At the same time, the wife on the other side stuffed a cotton cloth into her stomach because she can't let them know that the child in her belly is gone yet. In order to avenge the Fu Xinhan family, she decided to play with them. You asked the courier to help me send this to the Chow family's ancestral hall 2 months later. That day was not only their engagement day, but also the big event of their family. After a while, the doctor came out with the woman. When the man heard that the child was safe, he smiled at the time. Only because she had cancer, she could only entrust the hope to the child in her belly to fight for her family's property. In a blink of an eye, 2 months passed. On the day of pregnancy, as a friend of the gynecologist, he announced that he gave birth to a big fat boy. It's just that the mother-in-law couldn't hold it. The mother-in-law pretended to be sad as soon as she heard it. She cried fakely. In fact, her heart had already blossomed. She couldn't wait for the woman to die. Fu Xinhan was even more shocked. He knelt on the ground and began to cry. Then the bad mother-in-law ran straight to the main question and asked where the child was. Fake Xinxin cried and said that she would take the poor child to the ancestral hall. In order to make up for the lie, the friend said that the child's premature birth was weak. Now he needs to stay in the army room and observe. He advised them to go back to the ancestral hall first. He sent the child over in a while. After that, two people left. The woman came out of the operating room. The next second, Fu Xinhan held a big banquet in the ancestral hall of the Chow family. He also invited many relatives and friends.